What is your position on legalization of marijuana for medical use?
I'm totally opposed to the legalization of marijuana and also opposed to the distribution of alcohol. And we need to have a sober republic. The dangers of marijuana, called pot, is that it makes your mind very passive, and we wouldn't have as many passive people, which is contrary to that article I was talking to you in the Constitution. Alcohol stirs it blurs your judgment, but marijuana and the harder drugs, they affect your spirit. And so that's why we have these laid back Americans who are afraid of guns or anything else. And absolutely, I'm totally opposed to any increase in these pot, alcohol, this kind of traffic that would blur your judgment.
Mr. Marceaux.
Well, I guess I have to do like the Supreme Court does when they can't find an answer on a technical question like this. I have to go back in history, maybe back as far as the founders. Hey, why Thomas Jefferson was writing the Constitution, and why he was taking his fingernail and smearing the ink, because when he was writing the Constitution, he wrote the word servant and then crossed it out and put citizen. But I bet you he had a good beer mug there for a beer. And if he didn't want people to drink beer or smoke a pipe, they would have made a subdivision under the Constitution of it. But so you had to look down the Constitution there. Well, it says there, both in state and federal, that the government is supposed to let us be as happy as we want to be. Now, the problem I got with this is we got the beer. I don't drink myself. Occasionally I do when it's on personal time. But hey, we have the beer drinkers. Now we all know the beer drinkers. We drink about a 12-pack and hey, we feel pretty good. And then we got the smokers. Even though that pack says it's going to kill us, they take that cigarette and smoke it. And you know, if you look at their face, they actually get enhanced. Wow, I feel better. Now, these two group of people are having the happiness to the maximum. Well, then we got, like myself. I put God first in everything I do. Hey, I'm a Christian. I'm high on the Lord. Okay? And it shows in my face a lot of times. So I'm really getting off on this. And if you don't believe me, watch TV. Hey, they get the pastors, they get off on it too. And they make millions of dollars. So, but then I have to think about what about these people over here that can't do nothing? They have a right to be happy too. Now, I guess I would say I would have to legalize marijuana, not as a medical drug, but as you want. You have to be 18 years of age. You give it to children, you'll be in big trouble. If you're old enough to fight for your country, you're old enough to decide if you want to smoke a plant that the Lord gave us. And it ain't no person or thing in this country can overrule God. So if I became governor, I would tax it 9.75 cents and help it to balance my budget. Now I hate sin tax, but I can't stop you from being happy. I have to make. You have to have liberty. Tomorrow, if I win, the next day when I finally get sworn in, that next day you're gonna be so happy of a freedom and liberty and justice you never even thought existed. Just don't kill anybody with those guns.
Okay, thank you.
One comment I'd like to make on that particular subject. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll come back to you. Mr. Switzer, what is your position?
My position is that you should never deny people who need medicine their medicine. When marijuana was made illegal, it was treating 100 ailments in this country effectively. It's one of the most therapeutic drugs on the market that there exists. Humans have been using it for thousands of years, but it's more than that. It's an important agricultural product. food, fuel, fiber, medicine, all come from one plant. And it was made illegal through the use of propaganda from major corporate newspapers, who made it the enemy, the big boogeyman, to get rid of the competition. Competition for fiber, competition for oils, competition for medicines. They wanted it off the market because it was too free, too free. I agree with Basil here. It needs to be legalized all across the board. It's none of God's plants need to be legalized. God's plants were put here for us to use and be happy with.
Hey, will you yield for a minute and let me say one other thing?
She was going to be the next to
Okay.
respond, and we need to make sure he is finished.
Okay, well, I mean,
It,
on Senate, they always
let's let
say
him
It's an
finish.
important
a little bit.
agricultural product, as I said, because it helps break up the hard pan in the soil. It's a soil builder, very important in that, and that's some of the problem that we have. The oils in it, the oil is the closest to human blood oil. The oil that's in human blood, hemp oil is the closest to that, so it's extremely nutritious and beneficial. There is so many benefits to it that I'm afraid the propaganda that's gone on in this country has really damaged people, because it's also a very important mental health medicine. And the problem in this country, there's a huge mental health problem that we're ignoring in this country. And marijuana would be one way to help treat that, because marijuana helps you reveal psychological problems. And it's been used a long time for that in other countries.
Okay, Ms. Griffin, you wanted to respond.
Well, first of all, poison oak is a natural plant, and everything that's natural is not necessarily good for you. And secondly, the fruit of God's Spirit is temperance. The fruit of those other spirits are intemperance. One drink and you're loose. And the Bible says, which is where we got those temperance laws, that those who are ready to perish should be given things to put them out of their misery. Is our nation ready to perish? It said those that are ready to perish. And it said it's not for kings to drink wine because it perverts your judgment. So if you want a pot-smoking judge that works for the IRS, I don't think so.
Can I rebuttal?
Are you finished?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Okay. For one thing, Guy, you said industrial. I can pinpoint it, though, more than that. And back in '59, someone in DuPont was out there building a refinery. They were going to process this stuff into gasoline. And then they were spending millions of dollars to process this stuff. All of a sudden, this guy out of the woodwork came out with a wash machine that sells for $300 that every individual could buy and grow the stuff in the backyard in a little garden and make enough gas for the whole month, the whole year. And so DuPont was mad. So they went to Washington and lobbied to remove it from our nation. Even the rope that it used to make, the strongest rope in the nation, they wanted weak rope, and not use this stuff no more. And just so DuPont wouldn't make millions he wouldn't let the washing machine to make money. They just lost millions of dollars on all these plants they built. And that's why marijuana isn't on the market today. And during the Bible, you quote the Bible, you need to quote it right. What the Lord said was, you can drink, but you don't indulge.
Where's it?
So
What
if you
chapter
don't
and
indulge,
verse after a while,
you can
Marceaux?
go take a little of that plant as long as you can walk down the street without running into a telephone pole.
His point about the value of the fiber was well taken, because back in the early parts of this country, the War of 1812 was actually fought over Britain blocking our access to hemp from the Middle East. And hemp, of course, was important for sails and rope.
Oh, there's rope, yeah. I think of rope when I think, well, there's some people that
happiness.
need the rope.